Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, regular listeners should know by now that a variety of guests on this show from multiple industries is the heart and soul of what this show is all about. And for every IBM, Microsoft, Adobe and Sony CEO that's been on this show, there's also a new wave of startup that I want to help give the leg up and give them a platform to get their ideas and their voice heard. And on this show, CEOs learn from other CEOs, startup founders learn from others on their startup journey. And for me and you guys listening, we learn from them all. And I'm so passionate about giving you, the listener, a voice on here too. And this is not just something that I say to be polite. For example, I recently received an email from Aireka Harvell, who's based in Nashville, Tennessee, about her own personal startup journey. And she sent a lovely email saying, I recently started listening to your show and really enjoy it. Your topics are so helpful and encouraging to me as an early stage startup founder. And I'm emailing you to ask for your insight for my digital advertising startup and concept, she said, after listening to your interview with the vice president of a company called Session M. She goes on to say that their product was very similar to what she was building. But until she heard the podcast, she was feeling somewhat doubtful. But listening to the show has changed all that. So after reading this email, without hesitation, I invited her on the show today because that is what this podcast is all about. A member of the startup community going through one of those infamous dips on her roller coaster ride. But then she heard another story that resonated with her and is now back on track. How valuable is that? But enough of me going all sentimental in my old age. Buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Nashville, Tennessee, so we can speak with Aireka Harvell about her startup called Nodat. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Definitely. First, I want to say thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I love the Tech Blog Writer. It's taught me so much and opened my understanding to a lot of all things tech, should I say, and entrepreneur. But my name is Aireka Harvell, and I am the founder and CEO of a digital advertising tech startup here in Nashville, Tennessee, called Nodat Place Advertising. And our goal is to help local advertisers do a better job at localizing their digital advertising effort.
Well, first of all, a huge thank you to you, because that's kind of what the reason I created this show is so we could all learn from each other, whether it be startup founders learning from other startup founders or CEOs learning from other CEOs. But it's so important, isn't it? Especially on that startup journey, because the life in a startup is a real roller coaster ride, and there is tremendous highs, but equally there are tremendous lows. And I could be wrong here, but I think for yourself, hearing from other people going through a similar experience, that's got to be quite comforting.
Yes, absolutely. Because when you're going through this journey, it's a lonely journey to begin with, because not everyone around you understands why you would make a decision to leave a full-time job to work for yourself or to pursue this type of dream. And so when you're going through that and you're hitting wall after wall, it feels like, well, maybe my idea isn't that as good as I thought, or maybe this isn't going to work. And you battle with, should I quit or should I go back to work? But then when you find out that you're right where you're supposed to be because other entrepreneurs are also having to jump over the same hurdles, it is quite comforting that lets you know that you're right where you're supposed to be and to keep pushing.
Absolutely. And you are definitely right where you need to be, because Nodat is described as your helpful and most honest local guide, providing with any of the users with the best local shops, restaurants, bars, doctors, realtors and any other type of businesses. But I think what really strikes me is it's got a real global appeal, this has, and I just know you're going to get such a lot of success with it. But can you tell me more about the app, what problems you're helping to solve, and also what makes it different from other similar solutions out there?
Well, the weird thing about the app, or should I say the greatest thing about it, is that we're actually trying to solve problems for business customers as well as consumers. And we've come up with the concept of community marketing and community advertising. And it's basically businesses partnering with their customers to help spread the word and market the local businesses in their community. A lot of people, when we first launched, thought that we were similar to Yelp. And to be honest, we kind of saw ourselves as a competitor with Yelp as well. But as the concept began to grow and our audience began to grow, and the more research we did, we realized that we're not competing with Yelp because we are not another Yelp. If we think about it, we're more or less, and it's kind of scary to think about, but we're more or less competing with Google and Facebook when it comes to local advertising and users finding reviews and recommendations on places to go and things to do in their community, because that's who they look to right now. The problem that we're solving, I'll start with the B2B customers, is just basically helping them advertise effectively and get their customers to engage more with their advertising. Because right now, advertisers are having to deal with the threat of ad blocking. Consumers have all the buying power. They have all the advertising power right now too, because they can set their settings to where they can block ads or skip ads. And so it's not effective for local advertisers, for one, because they're not really putting a lot of money into their advertising like the national brands do, and their budgets are not as large as the national brands. And so when they spend money on advertising and it's getting skipped, they're not seeing the return of the conversions from that. And they're trying to find a better way of getting the consumers to trust the advertising or to engage with it. And I think I basically talked about the problems that we're solving for them all in that one sentence, because local advertisers are often disadvantaged when it comes to keyword search, when it comes to online SEO ranking, because of the national brands, because they have large amounts of money. They can buy up every keyword and outbid you as soon as you start for the day. Because I can remember when we first started advertising on Google AdWords, we set our daily cap at $20, and it was gone within like 30 minutes. If we used a popular keyword like Nashville, our cap was used up within the first part of the day, like from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And so we were wasting money on Google AdWords. And so we had to find a better way of advertising to Nashville, which is our pilot market, to let them know that the app was here. And so we thought about out of the box and used a lot of social media, got a lot of our family and friends to post about us on their social media. And that's how it just grew word of mouth, just putting more power behind that. And that's what we're helping local advertisers do. And then we've also created a customer data platform that allows the businesses to log in and manage the advertising, manage their direct marketing to our users. They can actually send marketing messages directly to our users through the app, through geofencing. If someone's walking by, they can send a message within a 5-mile radius that says, "Hey, you're near us. We're about to have reverse happy hour. Come on through." And so that allows them to not only just advertise to local customers, but also engage with them at a higher level. And so that's what we're doing for the businesses. And for consumers, their problem is they don't trust what they see in advertising anymore. They feel like they're being spammed. They feel like they're being misled by advertisers. And then they don't trust the larger platforms anymore with their privacy and the data. There's so much in the news now where Facebook had privacy issues and the scam with their fake news. And then you have Google, who is now under scrutiny because they've been actually using people's locations, even though the location settings are turned off. And so you have consumers who don't trust these larger platforms anymore. And so they're looking for smaller platforms that they can connect with and trust. And so that's what we're solving for consumers as well, and using their family and friends as an avenue to do that, because that's who they talk to anyway before they even make any buying decisions. So what we're doing is making it easier for them to get those recommendations on demand. I've talked to over 100 consumers and asked them how nice or how cool would it be if you could type in your next door neighbor's name and get a recommendation for a lawn care or a babysitter or a beautician. And it was like, that would be awesome. And that's what Nodat is. You just type in somebody's name. If they've done a recommendation on Nodat, you get a recommendation from them immediately.
It's a fantastic idea. It really is. And I love the idea of an engagement and customer data platform that actually allows local advertisers to easily connect with local consumers. but also strengthening the brand consumer relationships too. So on paper, it's a fantastic concept, but as a business, I mean, why do you think it's going to work?
I think it's going to work because, for one, it's local advertisers right now are trying to figure out where they need to cast their nets. There's so many regulations going around digital advertising right now that they don't know who to target. And so because of the way Nodat is designed, we help advertisers cast their nets into their current customers' network, and we give them a foolproof concept to help them do that. But because you have a lot of local businesses who have their own loyalty programs. But in order for the consumers to engage with those loyalty programs, they have to have like 50,000 apps on their phone, or they have to receive a numerous amounts of unwanted emails and remember which email had the discount on it that they wanted. Well, with Nodat, because we pull the community together and basically create a partnership through our community coupon store, it creates one big loyalty program which incentivizes the consumers to continue to come back, and it gives them a wide variety of offers, discounts, and savings that are basically provided by the local businesses. So it basically fuels that partnership, which will keep it working.
So who are Nodat's main customers and who you're aiming this at? And also, what benefits are you providing them?
Our main customers would be local chains, local franchises, service providers like realtors, insurance agents, moving companies, even daycares and nail salon chains and barbershop chains. And the benefit that we're providing them is, one, that they don't necessarily have to always be on social media or pay for someone to write a blog for them or expensive videos to constantly keep content on social media, on the web about them. So user-generated content is what they would be getting through their customers. And because it's video and it automatically tags their business's website, their business's name and address, it's also a part of SEO for them as well, because you constantly have your customers working to talk about you and promote you on social media and on online. And so that's the main benefit from it, is that you get extra content where you not always have to be on social media. It's another form of advertising. Not saying that it would replace advertising altogether, because of course, you want to have different types of advertising going on out there. But it's a what I say, less expensive and more effective form of advertising for those local chains and restaurants.
So, I mean, we've spoken about who you're often likened to. A lot of people said you were likened to Yelp to begin with, but you're not really. But who do you see as your biggest competitors? And also, what advantages do you think you have over them?
So I would have to say right now, my biggest competitor would be Facebook and the Facebook local. Yeah. And I would say the advantage that I have over them would be the fact of the loyalty program and the community, the concept itself of community marketing, community advertising, and the fact that we could be considered as one big loyalty program through the community. And I know that Facebook, their goal is community and their goal is to localize their advertising, but I think they may be just a little too large to effectively do that. I've read a lot of reports that say that Facebook and Google, because of how large their platforms are and because they're swarmed by national brands, that it would be kind of hard for them to bring themselves down to the local level, and that it's going to take a smaller platform that consumers trust and would be willing to share their data, because that's the thing. The consumers have to be willing to share their data in order for something like this to work, and for advertisers to effectively localize their digital advertising efforts. You're going to need the help of the community to do that. And I think that is the advantage that we have over them, is that we're a smaller platform and we're very transparent with how we use the data, with privacy settings. If users don't want to receive the push notification messages, they can just turn that right off in the app, and then they can basically control it, sharing their location and sharing any information with the app at any time.
Absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head there when you mentioned the word trust, because as users, we just don't trust the likes of Facebook and Google anymore because there's been that many high-profile stories. And I think there is a kind of a realisation that people want to go back and to building their own communities and away from big brands almost, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. I was reading a report on eMarketer that said 3 out of 4 consumers actually want to advocate for the brands in their local area. But what's stopping them from doing it on a consistent basis is that they don't feel like the brands actually care for them or want them to. And so that sense of love, that sense of community, right? If the local brands did a better job at engaging with their customers and caring more about their likes and their dislikes and making them feel like they're actually wanted as part of the process, then they would get more customers talking about them and advocating for them on the social media news feeds. And that's exactly what they need, is to cast their net into their current customers' personal network. Because, that's just the DNA of how it works, right? People who hang out together like the same things, shop at the same places, hang out at the same places. And so if your current customer is happy with you, then 9 times out of 10, there's about 3 or 4 in his or her personal network that will be happy with you too. But you have to motivate that current customer to share your business in their personal network.
100% with you on that. And it really seems that you've captured the imagination of users too. And I've even seen a video of you on the TV news report in the US. I mean, was that daunting being on a live TV report?
Actually, no, I liked it. I had a lot of fun. I was nervous at first, but I had a lot of fun. It actually opened up, increased our brand awareness here in Nashville. Our downloads increased after that. At first, that was right at the beginning of our journey, and we were generating maybe 5 to 10 downloads a day. And right after that news article, it went up. We were somewhere around 300 a day here in Nashville after that news interview. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So for other entrepreneurs that are listening on a similar journey, I mean, what lessons have you learned that you would pass on to them if they're listening right now and they're having their moment of doubt or fear? And, is there anything that you could pass on?
There's a lot. There's a lot. I promise you, I think I want to write a book about it. But yeah. I would say the most important thing would be to know exactly what it is, the problems that you're solving. From the very beginning, you may have this wonderful idea and you may build this beautiful product that could do so much, but know exactly what that product was built for and who you're serving. And that way, when you talk to potential investors and you talk to potential clients, you can tell them what it is that you're offering them within the first minute or 90 seconds of your conversation. Yesterday, I attended a pitch competition from some of the students here around the universities around Nashville. And there are so many bright entrepreneurs here, I have to say. There was a young man there who had built this video game that during the whole game, it's kind of catching information based off of the actions that the children perform in the game. And at the end of the game, it basically builds a career profile for them and says, hey, based off of the actions that you did, I think that this is the career choice you should make. And I was like, this is so awesome, because a lot of times kids are playing games all day and there's no benefit there. There's no reason for it. But when he was giving his pitch on yesterday, not one of the VCs understood what his video game was for. I had to literally look at the slides and read the information, but because he was stumbling all over his words and he was basically pointing out all the cool features of the game, the VCs passed on it because they just didn't know what problem he was solving. And so I would say to stick to figure that out at the very beginning and get it perfected, and that'll get you a lot further along and probably a lot less no's.
Absolutely. And I must admit, because I do interview a lot of startups on here, one of the first questions I always ask is, what problem are you solving? The tech and everything comes later. First of all, I want to know what you're solving, But yeah. The Nodat app is already out there and ready for listeners to download. But I've got to ask, what are your next targets? Is it funding, expansion? And how can anyone listening help you reach your goals or overcome challenges if they're listening now?
So our next step is funding. We are looking for early stage angel investors who are in the digital advertising or tech space, who understand the problem that we are trying to solve and knows that it is a definite problem, or someone that has accelerators that they would like us to be a part of. We're definitely looking for guidance as well. We just brought on, so I talked Julia Payne from Insights of Edge. We got a commitment from her to come on as our chief marketing strategist once we obtain the funding. And then we just brought on a new CTO. So that CTO will be building a team of in-house developers as well. So there's any developers who are interested in helping us continue development and expansion, that would be great also.
Fantastic. Well, for everyone listening, could you just remind them exactly where they can download Nodats, the app there? Obviously, I would assume it's going to be on iOS. Not sure about Android, but I'll let you say that. And also where they can find you online, and also contact a member of your team if they have any questions.
Sure. We are in iOS and Android. And believe it or not, Android is our biggest market. Cool. We have the most downloads on Android. And if you are interested and have any questions or would like for me to send a pitch deck or our executive summary over, you can email me at info@nodatplace.com. So that's NODAT place.com. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, and yeah.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for coming on today, and also for sending that email a couple of weeks ago where you said you'd heard as me interviewing somebody else. It kind of resonated with you. And then from that conversation, we're here talking now, and that's what this show's all about. So I'm going to be following your progress very closely, and we'll get you back on in, 3 or 6 months and see how you're getting on. But a big thank you for coming on today.
You're very welcome. I wanted to also let you know, so there was another one that I listened to with the chairperson of the lot agreement.
Yes,
with the patents. And so I contacted them and joined their group, and they're helping me get the patent on community marketing and community advertising. And so like that, you're doing a great work. And I just want to let you know that, because when I emailed you, I don't know if you could tell from the email, I have been at this at 1.5 years, and I hit so many walls, and I was trying to figure out, okay, well, maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe this isn't a good idea. And so when I emailed you, and I just wanted, your feedback on it, because I respect your opinion a lot. And just, you responding gave me that boost that I needed to continue to keep going and say, okay, Aireka, just continue to keep going. Something will open up. And I promise you, I've probably had, it gave me the mental that I needed to go out and knock on investor doors, email investors, just start sending it out. And I've probably had about 7 investor meetings since I've emailed you. So
wow,
it gave me that boost that I need.
Doesn't it show you, though, the power of putting something out there in the universe? And then
yes.
It really does. And this is something that I hear over and over again. And one of the reasons that I do this show every single day. And right now, there's going to be somebody listening to your voice somewhere, anywhere in the world, going through the exact same thing. And if they are, then again, email me directly. And we help each other on this show. That's what it's all about.
Yes, definitely.
I'm so glad that she decided to join me today, because if you're on a similar journey, listening to that conversation that we've just had anywhere in the world, I want you to do me a very small favour. Send her a quick message, because we shouldn't underestimate how far a few words of encouragement from a stranger who was touched and inspired by their story actually is. And I always try to help people on their startup journey by sharing stories of people at various stages of their startup. And I also want to share these nagging doubts and imposter syndrome that we all have, including myself in that. I know I've encountered it, but I'd love to know how you've encountered it and how you've overcame it, and then share it with others on this show. And we do have an open door policy here at the Tech Blog Writer podcast, our own little startup community, tech community, whatever you want to call it, but we all help each other. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, and tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. Because we're all on this journey together, and for me personally, it's a pleasure to serve you, my loyal audience, but today is also a big day for me. Why? I'm going to let you peek round the curtain. I'll tell you why. Today was the last of 15 podcasts that I've edited and recorded this week. Why did you record 15 podcasts and edit them in a week, I hear you scream? Well, there is a good reason. As you're listening to my voice now, I'm probably thinking about flying home for my holiday in Mexico. But while I was away drinking cocktails with little umbrellas in them, I wanted to make sure you all had plenty to listen to while I'm away. Everybody? Oh. Seriously though, peace and love to each and every one of you, and a genuine heartfelt thank you for listening and tuning in every day. But until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.